Hello everyone and welcome into Speaking of Diamonds. My name is Rich and I have something a little bit different here for you today. I'm here at my diamond painting desk and my diamond painting closet with all my diamond painting stuff, and I have two canvases that I have had dry mounted and at two different places, and I just want to compare and contrast and let you know a little bit about the process. So let's first of all discuss what dry mounting is. So dry mounting is basically you have a piece of foam board here, and this is the same type of material that perhaps you have used to cut into strips to like divide up boxes for trading cards or even drills, things like that. So it's a piece of foam board, and what dry mounting is they put a piece of adhesive that it's like a dryer sheet, like paper, okay? And they put that down and they apply heat with a press, and they press it down, and the heat melts that dryer sheet type material, and then your image is mounted to the foam board. The other version is wet mounting, which would be where they apply a liquid glue adhesive to the foam board, and then they put your painting on it, and then it dries, and then you have a picture on a board. Okay, so there are different benefits to the different types of mounting. Wet mounting can result in like bubbles and streaks and stuff like that if the glue isn't completely smooth and applied evenly. Dry mounting, on the other hand, involves heat. So sometimes, and I know we've probably all seen it in the message boards and things like that, or the Facebook groups, that some stores will not even dry mount a diamond painting. And again, that's why I went to two different stores, two different pretty large craft stores here in the States, and I want to give you my impression of both experiences. Okay, so I have two images. This first one is the larger of the two, but for the most part they're somewhat similar. But let's go ahead and take a look at my first one, and you may have seen this already. I love this image. I think this image is incredible. This is from Captured by Radiance, and this is part of the Winter King storybook. This is True Heart, I think it is, True Heart the Lion. And this series is based on stories that the author made up to tell her children. And I know that I did an unboxing of this, and like I said, you probably saw some progress on it, but here it is completed. I did bling it out and put in several of my own changes, and I listed those changes on the DP with Sparkler's website. But some of the changes just in general included some sparklers, some extra fairy dust, especially in the border, sparklers throughout the lion, and some quad cubes for seemingly what seems to be like snow. And then in some of the flowers, I used quad cubes for the center of the flowers, or this one right in the center, I used a hexacube. So this one I took to Hobby Lobby. Now, as a practice, I don't shop a lot at Hobby Lobby because there's just reasons, okay? However, they have great stuff. I mean, I'm not going to knock their quality or anything, but I typically don't go there. And many years ago, I had gone to Hobby Lobby and they helped me frame a picture. Have you ever been like on vacation? I was in Las Vegas, and there was guys painting with spray paint. I bought one of those pictures and I brought it in to be framed, and they helped me out. They were fantastic, helping me pick out mats and a frame that worked with it. And they took like this $20 spray paint art and turned it into this beautiful piece of work. And I love looking at it and remembering my time in Vegas. So I figured they would do a good job. And for the most part, I think they did. Again, my struggle with not wanting to shop there, I don't think my purchase of a dry mounted image is going to really, bolster their profits or anything. I didn't really mind going there for this. So let me tell you a little bit about how I went about this. So I took my image. I have not sealed either of these images. What I did was I did one final roll over the painting with my marble roller and made sure everything was put, stuck to the canvas pretty well. I did, look around the edges. I held a flashlight, just sort of even with the canvas, and you can see if there's any drills that are not fully seated. Okay, so that's all I did. I rolled it up, drills out, put it in a tube, and I went up to my local Hobby Lobby here in Lombard. When I got there, lady was there to help. I took this out and I said, I want to get something dry mounted, and I rolled it out and I was waiting to hear, oh, we can't dry mount those and yada, 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 because I've seen a lot of that in the Facebook groups, but then I've also seen people that have been very successful with having their diamond paintings dry mounted. And the lady took one look at it. She says, okay. And she took out a form and she started measuring. And so I was compelled to ask her, I says, do you do a lot of these? And she goes, yes, we do. I thought, okay, that's interesting. Who the heck is in my town here that I don't know that diamond paints? So she took the measurements and she asked me if I wanted the board to be black or white. I wasn't expecting to be given a choice. I chose black just because I thought, pretty much the borders of the image is dark. Plus I thought if I wanted to hang this, because I can put, the release strips, command release strips on the back of this and hang it, the black sort of just makes it look like it's, standing off the wall a little bit, and it gives it, in my opinion, a little bit more finished of a look. So she went ahead and, like I said, she took the measurements. She asked me if I wanted to cut the edges off. Yes, please. And she quoted me 3 days. So I brought this in on the Saturday of a Labor Day weekend here in the States, which is a 3-day weekend. And she said, it probably would be done maybe... no, she said, we're a week behind. It's going to take a week, but we'll call you if we get it done ahead of time. I said, okay. I was a little disappointed because I've seen people do videos where they've walked into these stores and they've gotten their stuff dry mounted while they wait. But she was upfront and said they are a little bit behind and it would take a week. Fine. So I left, and that Monday, so 2 days later, 2 days later, she called and she says, we're done, come pick it up. And I said, okay. So I went, and they had this in a nice plastic, heavy plastic bag, I guess, but it was wrapped in plastic. It was a nice presentation. She said, there's a ticket on the back. Just go on up and you pay when you pick it up at this particular store. And she said, go up and pay and have a nice day. Okay, thank you. So I was carrying this thing and I'm looking at it, I'm staring at it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is so incredible. First time I've ever had any diamond painting framed other than, those magnetic, I don't know if you can see it over here, but one of those magnetic frames that, magnets up at the top and the bottom, and then it hangs on a string. So got up to the counter. The lady took the ticket off. This was originally $14. $14 for basically a nicely mounted piece of artwork. Because this is considered custom framing, They were having a sale on custom framing. It was 50% off. So this cost me $7 and some change with tax. I think that is super reasonable. And a couple things that I thought about, you know, having this dry mounted, this actually, like, I want to hang this on the wall. I just need to find some place to hang it. But this also makes storing the diamond painting a little bit easier. Like, I have a big bag, a big art portfolio bag. I can put this in there and I don't need to worry about the diamond painting drooping or folding over, what have you, and getting creased. It will stand up by itself. So even if I don't hang it up right away, I think this is going to make this a lot easier to store. And quite honestly, for $7, you can't go wrong. Now, I did ask the lady, I said, if I want to one day get this framed, because I'm sort of proud of this one, I said, am I like ruining my chances to get this framed? And she said, actually, no. Usually, the first step in getting something like this framed is to dry mount it. I said, fantastic. So I can dry mount it today, and if I decide to frame it in a couple weeks, months, years, she said, bring it back in and we will work on getting it framed. She says, the only difficulty you may have is obviously the mat would be a little bit maybe thinner or set back from the foam board. She goes, but there's ways to work around it, build it up, things like that. And I, to be honest, I almost picture this, like if I were to frame it, make it look like a floating image where there's the frame and a little bit of mat around it, maybe like a white or cream colored mat, and then put this on it. And so it looks like the picture is floating and away from the mat, you know, in the frame. So how did they do? Everything is stuck, okay? Everything has, all the adhesive has remained, you know, everything is stuck to the board. For the most part, everything is cut pretty straight. There are some places here that I just see a little of the white canvas sticking through. So if I go to hang this on the wall, what I would probably do is just take a marker and just color some of this, the white canvas that I see. Probably would not be obvious at all if I had gotten this done on whiteboard, but probably it's a problem because I had the black board included. But for the most part, it's pretty straight. You know, it matches. Everything is even with the sides of the foam board. There's a little ding down here, but that may, truth be told, maybe from me. I've had this now for about a week or so. The board is in good condition. There's nothing wrong with it. So for $7, I'm going to do this again. Now, as I said earlier, I typically don't go to Hobby Lobby, so I wanted to see what I could get done at Michael's. So let's see, today is Tuesday. I went into Michael's on Saturday, just like I did before, except it's not a 3-day weekend. And went up to the counter and I asked the gentleman, I said, I'd like to have something dry mounted. I took this out of the tube, and again, same preparation. I only rolled it and made sure that everything was stuck to the canvas. I unrolled it. He goes, oh, you're not going to want to dry mount this because do you know about dry mounting? I said, yes. He says, dry mounting involves heat and this is going to melt. And I said, no, I don't think it will. I said, they're resin drills, which they are. Even the enhancements that I used are resin. I said, so it should not melt. And he said, oh, okay. You know, he's like, cool image, you know, whatever. He starts inputting to the computer. And about 3 or 4 more times, and once again before I left, he made sure, are you sure? Because this may melt. And I said, it shouldn't melt. And finally, I just said, you know what? If it melts, it melts. Okay. This is sort of my test subject. All right. This one is definitely a test subject. If that one had melted, I would have had a meltdown. But I said, it's okay. I accept the responsibility, whatnot. He said, okay. So he was writing it up, and I said, can I get this put on black foam board? And he said, no, we only offer white. And when you read the invoice, it actually says this is some type of archival acid-free foam board. Okay, but now I have, you know, two different backgrounds, whatnot. I do prefer the black, but to be honest, this one is, it doesn't have a dark border, so it probably works better with the white. But again, if you were looking to have things matchy-matchy, just know that Michaels seems to limit your options for the foam board. So this was on Saturday. He said it'll be ready on Monday, and unless we're done earlier, we'll give you a call. So I thought, okay. He gave me the invoice, and you pay up front. So for this one, it was about $17 or $18, okay, which again is comparable to Hobby Lobby, except there wasn't a coupon for half off. I still think less than $20 to dry mount something is very reasonable. That charge included a special charge for this acid-free backboard, okay? Whereas this was just, the one from Hobby Lobby was just a package deal. So I went home, and the weekend went by, Monday went by, and I didn't feel like running up to Michael's. So I thought, you know what, I'll just wait and I'll do it tomorrow. So I took some time today on my lunch hour. It's Tuesday. And I took time on my lunch hour to run over to Michael's, and I should have had plenty of time, given a 1 hour lunch break, to get there, pick it up, and come home. It's not that far away from me, but you know, you got a little bit of traffic and stuff like that, and a freight train that I was parked by on the way home. So I got there and I said, hi, I'm here to pick up. I gave him my receipt. This was a different person. And he was looking around, then he went in the back and he came out. He goes, oh, it's not done yet. I said, okay, but it was supposed to be done yesterday. And he's like, hold on. So he's in the computer and he looks, he's like, yeah, you're right. He's like, do you have a couple minutes? I can dry mount it while you're waiting. And I thought, well, that's what other people have done. So sure, no problem. So I did my best to wander around Michael's and not spend any additional money. And probably about 15, 20 minutes later, I was waiting by the counter. He came out and he said, I ran it through once. He goes, and the corners are not adhering. He's like, I want to run it again. Okay. So I hear, you know, in the back room, beep, 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 obviously setting timers or whatever. So he came back out. He said, I'm still having trouble getting this to adhere. A couple more minutes. I said, okay. I'm, you know, looking at my phone, watching the time go by, and clearly I'm not going to get back in an hour. So I, you know, messaged a coworker and just be like, hey, in case anyone's looking for me, I'm running an errand, whatnot. So finally he brought it out and he said, you know, this is the best I can get it right now. And I said, you know what, fine, I'll take it. It was supposed to be done yesterday anyhow. You know, you've pretty much used up your chances here. So let me show you the image that I had dry mounted here. Make sure this is, I may need to have this one up a little bit higher since it's shorter, or I can just knock over the entire easel. So let me just leave that the way it is here. What is going on? Okay, which it's probably now a little crooked, but you know, we're just gonna leave it. So I had my lightsabers dry mounted. This one is from Rose Prophet. And for this one, I used all the drills that are charted for it, except in the center of each lightsaber, I have a row or two of pearls from DP with Sparklers. So let's take a look and see how this turned out. On the, you know, basically it looks pretty good. However, on the corners, now this one, the corners are loose. And, you know, he said, oh, I was having trouble with the corners. Well, this one worked, so why isn't this one working? So I'll bring this up close here and show you. This one is probably the best of all of them. Okay, there's just a little bit of separation there. However, this one is coming off, okay? This one is coming off as well. And then this one, I don't even have to put my finger in there to separate it. This one is coming off completely. It is not adhered whatsoever. And what the guy said to me, he said, it's not fully adhered, but it's not going to come off. Oh, well, thank goodness. You know, that's like saying, look, your pants are split in the back, but they're not going to fall down. Your butt's hanging out, but they're not going to fall down. But I says, you know what, that's fine. I figure I'll try some double stick tape or something. I had to get going. So then as I'm walking out of the store, I'm looking at this, and now let's just take a look at the edge of, you can see it, how it's not even cut straight. The foam board is not cut straight. The canvas then is not cut straight. This, you can see this is a little like crushed here, because the foam board will crush if you put something heavy on it or slam something down on it. And this side looks okay, but it's just a little raggedy is the word I would use, a little raggedy around the edges. So I took it and I was able to leave right away. He gave it to me like this, no bag, no nothing. I put it in the back seat, got home, and then I started taking a look at it. And yeah, so for this one, I would not be comfortable hanging this just like this on the wall, simply because, number one, even if I were to fix this, with the raggedy cutting here, it just looks really unfinished on the edges. The guy did ask me, he goes, is this, like, what is this fabric? Like, what is this fabric? Is it, you know, it's not sticking like it should. And it's just the felt backed canvases. And a matter of fact, let me get, I have another one over here from Captured by Radiance, and I was checking. It's the same, you know, sort of felt back. There's no reason why it shouldn't adhere. This one also, number one, it's a little bit smaller, so whatever the heat press they had, it probably should have fit a little bit better than the other one. And with that one, granted, they're not towards the edges, but there are the quad cubes, the hex cubes, those stand out a little bit more. So I could see where maybe the heat press wouldn't get that fully in contact with the foam board, but they did a fantastic job. And this one is just completely flat. And clearly we had some problems around the edges. So, have some work to do on this one to make everything lay flat and adhere to the foam board. Also here we have some of the canvas, like it's like the threads are sticking out, so they didn't do a great job at cutting it. So while the process at both places took about the same amount of time, obviously the service at Michael's was a little lackluster, just by the fact that they didn't have it ready when they said they were going to have it ready. And it was just sort of like, yeah, it's not ready. You know, what's the big deal? It was very nice of him to offer to do it while I waited. And I would attribute some of this to perhaps while maybe I waited and I rushed him and, you know, so he didn't do as great of a job. But knowing that other diamond painters have gone into stores and they get it mounted while they wait, I cannot really put a lot of credit behind that theory. So to be honest, the next time I want to dry mount something, I'm going to Hobby Lobby. And to be honest, like I said earlier, like while I don't like going there, this costs $7. I'll definitely make sure that there's a 50% off custom framing. $7, I'm not really going to be, you know, putting a lot of money into Hobby Lobby, but I will be getting a superior product. So I hope that's given you a little comparison between two different places. I don't know if there's other craft stores that may be by you, that if there is, I'd like to hear if you've gone there and had things dry mounted. There is a little frame place in town here that I was thinking of maybe checking out the next time. But like I said, for this, the precision in which it's done, how nice it looks, the presentation, the time, everything like that, I'm going to say that Hobby Lobby won this round of who dry mounted things better. So if you have any questions, put them down below. If you've enjoyed this video, definitely give me a thumbs up. If you know anyone who's looking to have their images framed or dry mounted, share this video with them and let them see a little bit of a comparison. I am sure that some of this is just dependent on the various stores that I went to. So certainly go give Michael's a try, but my suggestion would be the first time, if you have two different places and you want to see how they do, or even if you just have one place, take in a little bit, take a practice canvas, like this would be my practice canvas, just in case something is not done well or something goes wrong, if they don't have a lot of experience doing it. When I did ask the guy at Michael's, hey, do you do a lot of these? He's like, no, I've never seen one of these before. So I don't know why that is. The stores are not that far from each other, so it's not like one was in, you know, the town that everyone diamond paints and the other one wasn't. But, you know, definitely, like I said, Hobby Lobby all the way. So thanks everybody. Any questions, put them down below, and I will talk to you next time we are Speaking of Diamonds. Bye-bye.